Okay, so there are a couple more things that I want to show in relation to the Zoho support module. One of them is that I want to go ahead and show the integration. So here's how we're going to do it. We have under Zoho Contacts, under Zoho CRM in the contacts, we have a client named Karen Suter. And Karen has a great deal of contact information put in there because this is the point of maintaining the master contact record that's in Zoho CRM. But in Zoho Support, it's not really that. When we create a contact, it's very, very basic. So in this case, all we have put in is her name and email address. No phone number, no other information, okay? Because we don't need anything else to get her logged into the system or to manage those requests. All right. However, there is some level currently of integration with Zoho Support, and they promise more to come. And here's where the integration comes in. I have set Karen up as a user in Zoho Support, so she actually does have access to the portal and can submit requests. And we can also input requests on her behalf. So that's what we're actually going to do. We're going to go to Requests, and we're just going to go ahead and add a request. It'll do the same thing if she does it. So we add a request, and we're going to put in the contact Karen, and we'll choose Karen Suter. And again, all we have is her email address in there. We don't have any phone number, any other information. And let's go ahead and put in an action item. So like to do. And this is where we're going to put in as a request that both she and we can see a to do for her. It could also be a request from her for us to do. So, but in this case, to do for Karen. And we're going to put, let's see, contact your banks. Okay, and then we'll just put a description. We show you're with First National and Acme Savings. Okay, and so that's her to-do. And then we're going to go ahead and save that to-do item. Now when we save it, notice what it's going to do. It's going to bring over the contact information from our CRM. You can see over here on the right that it basically reached out and fetched it. And all it really fetched was the phone number. And the reason why is because in the CRM we're maintaining the phone number and email address over there as the primary record. So what if they change their phone number or email address? We want to be able to have the most current information associated with any request. So anybody that's managing support requests in your office or handing out support requests, they need to do a follow-up call. When they click requests and they open a particular request, like this one, to do, contact your banks, they're going to see the most recent information from the CRM, and that is the integration as it stands. In the future, Zoho promises that integration will include bringing over all the contact information from one database into another. Okay, and while we're at it, there's one other thing that I'd like to show in relation to Zoho Support, and that is when we create a request, the ability to add a document. So let's go ahead and add another request. We'll go ahead and put this request in for Daniel, and here he is. And we're going to go ahead and say to do switch over your mortgage. And there are lots of other types of requests besides to-dos, of course, but please use the attached form to submit to change your mortgage. Okay, but there are lots of other types of requests, but in this case we're just using an example of a to-do. And we're going to scroll down, and at the bottom there's something called attachment information. Let's go ahead and add an attachment, and we'll reach out and grab a form that we have stored on our hard drive just for this purpose. So now that's attached to the document, and we're going to go, or attached to the support request, we're going to go ahead and click Save. Alright, and as you can see, the document is there. It's a Word file. When we go to Requests, that is attached to this particular support ticket or request, and so we can go ahead and click on that, and there it is. Now, just as an example, I want you to be able to see that Daniel can in fact see that exact same thing when he logs in. So I'm going to bring down this window here, which happens to be Daniel's support portal, what Daniel sees, and then we're going to go to his requests. And sure enough, here's a to-do, and it's in bold saying, hey, look, you haven't looked at this yet, and it's switch over your mortgage. And when we click on it, there is the form that you attached for him to look at. So you can always say to Daniel, look, yeah, we've sent you that form. It's in your support portal. Just log in with the information we sent you. You of course created your own username and password, and you can log in and see the document that we attached. So that's how you would do that. I'd also like to go ahead and show you how to add additional support reps, because it's very likely that you have multiple people in the office that are going to need to be able to create solutions for the general set of your clients, and then also requests for specific clients and specific accounts, and then manage those requests. So I'm going to go ahead and one of the reasons, of course, is once you start using an online portal, you're not going to want to let those things just sit there. If somebody requests support and they don't hear something within 24 hours, say, it's probably going to reflect dimly upon the company. So remember that this replaces a good chunk of phone calls, and emails that you're going to get. But at the same time, if you don't manage it, you haven't saved any labor at all. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to click on Setup on the upper right, and Setup is just going to take us to a place where we can click Support Reps. And by clicking Support Reps, we can add additional people that can manage and administer your support system. So fairly straightforward there. So one of the things I'd like to go ahead and do is show you a bit of workflow, and of course you'll need to adjust this workflow according to the needs of your office. When you start your day, you're probably going to want to take a look at the support system and look for any requests that you have received. So by clicking on requests, you'll see any ones that are new, and they should be bolded and ready for you to respond to. And those would be requests that have come in from clients that have submitted them via their individual portals. Once you've taken care of any requests, you might jump from support over to your CRM. And in your CRM, one of the things you might do is look at your appointment calendar. On the left-hand side, there is a calendar for today, and you can click that day, or let's say today was, for instance, the 31st. We might click that, and we might see an appointment there that we've made. Now, how did that appointment get in there? Well, remember that when we created activities, we created actual tasks or events or calls or cases, etc. And those, as necessary, show up in the calendar. So here we created an event, and the event was a second appointment for one of the clients. And of course you can click on that and get more information, or in this case you could just hover over that and it will pop up and say, oh yeah, it's for the Suter family and it's Gianni Suter that you have this 1 o'clock appointment with. So if you use this to manage your client information, it also makes sense, and all of the interactions with clients, it also makes sense to use this as your appointment calendar and do away with that paper-based calendar that's probably sitting on your desk. We could jump over to the 30th and see there's an initial appointment there, and if we hover over it, we notice that nobody put in a name there, so that's probably not how we want to do that. And then on the 29th, for instance, we have another initial appointment, and it's with Amy Rye of Rye Enterprises. And so you basically are seeing the events that we've scheduled for the future or for an individual day. So you might start that way in your CRM by looking at your calendar. So let's say we go to activities, which gives us a kind of summary of all types of activities. Activities would include, appointments, events, anything that we're pretty much doing. So here we've got 3 events. One is an initial appointment with a client, another is a second appointment, and another is an initial appointment or consultation. And then we've got some calls that were logged, and we can see those calls that are completed. Now those could also be calls that are pending that we need to make. So we could log that under new call even before we make a call. And say that call is pending. That we have 6 calls to make today, and there could show up 6 of them that are pending here. But we have 3 that are just completed, so we don't have to address those again. And the last place that you might look is at your actual campaigns. And campaigns are actually marketing campaigns that you're currently working on. Any company that's not marketing is pretty much sinking. So it's a good idea to always have something working to increase the leads coming in the door, even during busy times, because then during the dry times you don't have to fight for it. So under campaigns, we see a public webinar on estate planning. We could click on that and get more details, or a local event with an accountant. Let's just go ahead and take a look, for instance, at our local event with the accountant. So we click on that, and it's in the planning stages, and we see things like what type of event. Well, it's a conference, not a webinar or something. We see our expected response, which is 8 people. We see our expected revenue, which is $1,000, and we see our actual cost, which is $250, and budgeted cost of $350, meaning we've allowed $350, but we're probably going to spend $250. What did we base these on? Well, maybe the expected response is based on leads provided by our partner accountant that's going to co-host this event with us. What's the expected revenue based on? Well, maybe we just based it on what we would make if we converted a single client to a lead. We were being very conservative there. And what's the actual cost based on? Well, maybe 1 hour of billable time, which we're not billing, of course, but we're still losing that time. So we have to include that as a cost plus the cost of any refreshments. So maybe if we bill $100 an hour and then $150 for refreshments, we get $250. So we're planning an event here, and there may be more details that go into that, and there's certainly a lot of information that you can fill out. So I would probably start when I logged into my home page with my calendar for the day. I'd probably go to any activities and just kind of look at anything that may be sitting there. It should show up on the calendar, but it's a kind of a second way to view it. And then I would start work on my campaigns. And then throughout the day, I would continue to return at least once or twice a day to the support requests in my support system and see if there are any requests there. Again, once every 24 hours is probably the minimum, but you may want to dive in twice a day just to make sure at least. One more thing that you may want to do while you're in your support desk is throughout the day you may take phone calls, and you may get those questions that people always ask. They're always calling to ask that question. You find yourself repeating yourself and giving the same information. Well, there are a lot better things that most professionals can get paid for than to sit and give the exact same information out over and over again. So that's what solutions are for. So throughout the day, as you get those questions that you're always being asked and you give the answer that you're always saying, why not just add it to your solutions? That way you can say, oh great, let me pull up the answer from our support portal. And you can go through that little step to kind of encourage people, hey, yeah, these answers really are on the support portal. And they might say to you, how do I get in the support portal again? No problem, I'll resend you that invitation. And off you go. And then you're reducing the amount of time over time that you spend on the phone and putting more people toward the support portal where they can actually get better support 24/7 and don't have to wait till the next day to make a phone call in the morning. So it's a great way to do it. All right, that's all we have to say about workflow. It's a very basic overview of workflow. You have to customize this according to your own needs.